Good morning again from London. In today's Gospel, Jesus says, I want mercy, not sacrifice. And he got quite angry again at the Pharisees. And the Pharisees, of course, are these people that are complaining, saying, look, your disciples are doing this, your disciples are doing that. And at times Jesus gets fed up. He says, look, they mightn't be obeying all the religious rules, they mightn't be doing everything, but their hearts are in the right place. And he's saying, you on the other hand, you're obeying maybe all the rules and you're doing all the right things, but yet your hearts are not in the right place. And you see, Jesus is challenging us. He's saying, what are we obeying? Are we obeying the letter of the law or the spirit of the law? And to give you a little example, Jesus also says in the Bible, he says that those people who have been forgiven the most are going to love the most. And that's true as well in today's society. People who have fallen on very, very hard times and who afterwards have had a miraculous experience of Jesus, those type of people are sort of like the St. Pauls of today. And when they get converted, they get on fire for Jesus. But some of them have pretty heavy past lives, no more than myself. People come from past lives of all sorts of things, from depressions, anxieties, addictions, drugs, sexual issues, divorces, remarriage, occult, abortions, all sorts of 100,000 other things that I haven't even mentioned. And when they get converted, Jesus doesn't suddenly make all their past life disappear. For example, think of St. Augustine. He was a bishop, but before being a bishop, he had a mistress and he had a child with a mistress. Now, when he was converted, the child didn't suddenly die or evaporate into smoke. No, he was a bishop with a past life and with a child. And so you see, it's the same with us. When we're converted, Jesus enters into our lives, but our past lives don't just disappear. And sometimes when we go back to church after a big conversion, we don't know, we're not familiar. We maybe say the wrong things, we don't genuflect as we're supposed to, we wear the wrong clothes, we don't understand all the religious rules and the rigmaroles that go with it. And some people will look at us and say, look at him, look at her. Did you see the way she's dressed? Did you hear about her life? Did you hear about her past life? Did you see all those children? Each one has a different father. Did you hear about him? He's gay. He's not perfectly chaste. Did you hear about that one over there? Going to Mass there, receiving Holy Communion, and last week I saw him drunk. And you see, people are judging. And you see, Jesus is saying that when someone is converted or whatever, their hearts are in the right place doesn't mean that they're perfect. And he's saying that worse is the sin of judging. Worse is thinking that just because you obey all the rules, that you are pleasing God perfectly. And you see, Jesus is calling us all to be humble. He's calling us to be humble of heart. And you see, the journey of conversion, it's easy to just learn off the catechism, the same as you'd learn something by rote and pass the exam and say, look, I'm a perfect Catholic because I understand the Catholic teaching perfectly. I'm a perfect Catholic because I obey all the rules. I'm a perfect Catholic because I say yes to absolutely everything the church has to say. But you could be saying yes to everything the church has to be saying, and yet inside you can be full of anger, hatred, jealousy, bitterness, and every sort of horrid thing. And someone down the road who you consider a heretic, a Protestant, for example, if you're a Catholic, or someone who you might consider a heretic, and they don't believe in Our Lady, and they don't believe in this, and they don't believe in that, and in your book they're terrible, and you're far better, and you're pleasing Jesus far more because you're defending his beautiful Holy Mother, who, by the way, should be defended and loved. However, if by doing that you're judging them, then your sin is greater. Because the Protestant, whoever down the road who didn't grow up in the Catholic faith, Jesus understands perfectly why they don't believe in Our Lady. However, if they're full of love, if they're full of charity, if they're full of kindness, they may be far closer to Jesus than you. And so our challenge in today's church is when we're bringing people back, we can't enforce the rules on them. It just doesn't work. We live in a society where sexual promiscuity, where relationships, or all sorts of stuff, the world has gone crazy. And when these people come back to church, they're going to come back with the love of Jesus, but they're also going to come back with their past lives, they're going to come back with confusion, they're going to come back with mixed relationships and very tricky, difficult situations. And we can't play solicitors with them. We can't block them from God, we can't block them from Jesus, we can't block them even from the sacraments and from the power of Jesus, just because their lives are tricky, just because their lives are messy. You see, when the prodigal son came back, the father ran out, raced out, he organised a party. He didn't think twice. He just saw him and ran. He didn't have to consult anybody. He didn't have to go into a 30-day discernment retreat to see what he would do. He let his heart lead because he knew that he loved his son and that his son needed him. And so in today's church, Jesus is calling us to let mercy rule, to let the love and mercy of Jesus burst through our hearts out into the world, out into the church, out into the society, and let the mercy burst through at times the religious rules and the rigorous rigmarole, and to burst through it all so the healing power and the love of Jesus can reach the people who need it the most. And so today, don't be a Pharisee. Don't be caught up in religious rules and looking Catholic on the outside. No, focus on the inside and let the measure of your Catholicism, let the measure of your love be the measure of love and mercy you have for everybody. Let it be the measure of love and mercy you have for every single situation, for sinners, for people, for everybody. And let it be also the measure of how much you know that under different circumstances, had you grown up in a different family or different whatever, you could be that person. You could be even worse than that person. And so today, let us once again consecrate our hearts to the mercy of Jesus, and let us ask him for forgiveness for the places where we have lacked mercy and for the places where we think or have thought that we are better than other people. And let us bring that pride to Jesus, and let us ask him to humble us so that we may reach out more and so that we may be the apostles of love that Our Lady is calling for. So thank you for listening, and may the love and mercy of Jesus rule in your hearts today for every single soul you meet, and may you pray and do everything in your life from that place of humility, mercy and love. Thank you for listening, or watching I should say.